excited about this, Kins, because our tour is going to continue. Last month, I began my series called All Indy Adventures so that you and I can explore and be tourists in our home together. That includes you too. And the goal here is to get all of the tour together to show when other people come and, visit us. So today's stop is in the heart of Hallville.
Today's stop on All Indy Adventures is enlightening with a touch of spooky. A lot of people are crazy about it, including our friend Nate from Visit Indy.
Nate, where do you have me right now? What is this place?
We are at the Indiana Medical History Museum, and we're actually in the library room here. So this is a really cool place. You've never been here. It's a new spot that you've never seen before in Indy, but it's actually not new. It's been around, the museum itself has been around for more than 50 years.
The hospital entrance and the Department for Women in 1880. I mean, they didn't have people in the same place.
No. The Indiana Medical History Museum is actually right where we are. We're in the old pathology facility of the Central State Hospital, which opened back in 1848 as the Indiana Hospital for the Insane. And so that was actually a very progressive name at the time, so it might sound very non-progressive, but at the time it was, and that was because it had the word hospital in it, which meant it was here to help people, so it was here to help the patients. And so that was back in the 1840s, and then now today, this museum opened 50 years ago in the pathology lab, and visitors can come explore the grounds and this actual building here, where you can explore the labs, the library, the anatomical museum. You can actually see preserved specimens as well. There's even some brains in here. This is the clinical laboratory, so look at all the specimens on the walls.
Whoa, what is all of this stuff?
What is all of this? And so Sarah's going to tell us what all of this is.
Hey!
Hello.
Okay, so what's in here?
Well, this is the clinical chemistry lab. So when the hospital was open, they had anywhere between 2,000 and 2,500 patients at any given time. And these were all patients who had other medical conditions in addition to their mental diseases. And so they did a lot of clinical testing here, diagnosing diseases and things like that. So that's what the lab here was used for.
Is there anywhere else like this in the country?
Not that I'm aware of. There are other medical museums, but nothing like this. These are chemicals that were used in various chemical experiments and diagnostic.
I mean, all the different bottles in and of itself is pretty incredible.
Very nostalgic. I feel like somebody's gonna tape a movie in here. I'm surprised if anybody hasn't taped a movie in here.
It has happened. We have to be careful. We have to protect the building, and then that requires a lot of equipment and stuff, and a lot of traipsing through the building. We try to be careful, but it's been done before.
So many gizmos and gadgets in here to kind of play with.
And then you head into this room, which is the amphitheater.
Oh, wow.
And so I guess there was a lot of teaching, a lot of classes that went on in here, and they would actually do autopsies in front of students, med students as well, in this room.
1895. Man, I bet you the things that they talked about in this room compared to what maybe they talk about in medical school now.
Completely different, completely different. Some real, I'm sure, breakthroughs happened in this room.
Wow, and I mean, this table right here, I guess you can kind of see what it looks like.
The table was there until the early 1930s.
Wow, and then look, the drain is still here of like where they would have to drain everything.
That's wild to me.
That is crazy. Okay, well, let's go find where the brains are. So I've heard all about this room. I'm kind of excited about this one.
So the anatomical museum. So there's actual specimens in this room. And so we're gonna hop over to Sarah, and she's gonna show us one of her favorite stories.
Okay, over here. Wow, like those are actual brains.
I mean, yeah.
Most of them are brains. There are a couple of other things here and there sort of sprinkled about. This is one of my favorite specimens. This is Burton P. He is interesting because this is one of the traumatic injuries that we have on display here. Burton fought in the Spanish-American War, and in one of the early battles, he was shot in the head, and he was actually reported dead, and his family thought he had passed away. But a couple months later, he showed up in a hospital in Santiago, Cuba, and he did recover, but later in life he had some problems that may or may not have been related to that gunshot wound, but he died here in the hospital.
I just think it's incredible that you have not only the brains, but you have the stories as well behind them.
When we first walked in here, I was like, ooh, I wonder if this place is haunted. Because, people think about this and they think scary, but it's a little bit more than just scary. It's actually very intriguing.
It is much more than just scary. I think it's all about the stories that these walls would tell. It's about the stories of the people who were at this hospital and who walked through these halls. So it's more than just the spook. It's actually a really impactful experience when you get to know what's going on here.
There were thousands of patients over the course of the hospital's 150-year history, and they want to know more about each one of them.
I feel like Nancy Drew. I do. I feel like Nancy Drew. I feel like I just want to find out about so much. You know, the average person the average Hoosier, do you think they've been here, or is this probably new for them?
This is new for a lot of people. This is going to be something, I mean, I've been here a couple times. This is your first time here, and so hopefully we can get some other people out here to learn some impactful stories that have taken place.
I think that there's a lot of Hoosier hospitality here in a different way, maybe.
Think about it in one way or another, but I would agree with you 100%.
I'd say this gives a lively twist to Hoosier hospitality.
I grew up here and I have never been there. My mouth the whole time was like
that's
what?
there?
That autopsy, live autopsy, and then that brain.
I know, they have like more than 20 of them with the stories behind them, and they're doing that work.
I love they're like, he was just seen in Cuba.
I know,
we thought
he was dead, but he wasn't. And get this, another cool thing you can check out there, I'll call it the swallow chest, because they have all these little bits and pieces, and it was donated by Riley Hospital for Children, of things that they found in people's bodies that they swallowed. So like the people didn't necessarily have to die, but like I'm talking like toy cars, the whole nine.
I was gonna ask what the wildest thing you saw was.
I think I saw like safety pins, toy cars, hole pins. I'm like, how were you that hungry? What happened? How did this get here? So, you know, you're a curious person like me.
Yes, our own Nancy Drew over here.
Right, I did feel like Nancy Drew. So, hey, if you have anywhere where you think it should be a tour stop, let me know. Just hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
I'm gonna hit that up.